presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
And welcome to La Grande Cantina inside the mall, where we have got our continuation of our coaches show. Yes, we've gone through 10-plus weeks because a bye week thrown in there with high school football, and now we get into the special time of the year, which is called playoffs. So just kind of review and recapping outside of the 6A realm and some of the smaller schools that divide up. You got 32 teams in a class, and then, of course, you break it down to 16 of them make this special week. So you've got 8 in the district. They'll take the top 4, and then the 4 will mismatch from the west side and the east side. Ones play 4s. 2s play 3s, and you can catch the whole bracket if you've not seen them broken down. We have posted them on X. You can also go to the OSSAA's website, go into the football tab, and then you'll find all of the brackets right there. So you can kind of sum up of kind of what is going to take place here in the next several weeks. But a very special time of the year for each of these teams. Out of the 13 schools on the Oklahoma Sports Network, 11 of them are playing this week in playoffs, and we're very excited to continue with football as that's the big thing this time of the year when we've got high school football in our area with the 5 schools that we've talked to, or 6 schools that we've talked to. We've got 5 of them going to be playing this week, and we've got all 3 Lawton schools plus Elgin and Walters. And so we invite them with their players and coaches to talk about the season as a whole and what to expect with their matchups in week 1. But La Grande Cantina, and we're in the reserved section in the very back of the restaurant, and you can reserve this for your special occasion. So whether it's a birthday, whether it's a hail and farewell, where you got Christmas coming up right around the corner, you can book this room. And, of course, a basket of tortillas hits the table as soon as you get here, and take in your order from one of their family menus that has been passed down for the traditions of old Mexico, or whether there are some new modern dishes that you're accustomed to. They can handle both sides of it. La Grande Cantina. So we've got MacArthur, we've got Elgin and Eisenhower already in. We'll wait for Lawton High and Walters to come in as well, and you can join us right here each and every Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We'll take a time out, and we'll get with the MacArthur Highlanders up next right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Grande Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Grande Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
Well, if that doesn't get you excited for football, I don't know what will. So make sure you stop by La Grande Cantina. If you can't make it tonight, we'd like to see you throughout the rest of the week talking high school football. Week 1 of the playoffs, as the coaches would say, you go to 0-0. Everybody is a fresh, clean start. Whether your record indicated whether you're a first through a fourth, you can make a run. I remember not so long ago in the history of Carl Albert. Carl Albert was a 4th seed one year, ran the table, and won a state title. title. So when you think, okay, well, your odds are better if you're in one of those marquee matchups. But nonetheless, Coach, first off, I want to, before we start talking playoffs, kind of what stands out to you with this team for this year?
Well, I think we've got a lot of good talent. Probably more than anything, this has been one of the best working groups that I've ever had. Their off season, their summer pride, our daily practices. There's no complaining, there's no whining, there's not a whole lot of lack of effort. They really get after it. They really work hard, and that was first seen in the winter in the off seasons, and continued on and through spring ball, summer pride, and that's one thing that I, as a coach, I really appreciate about these guys and their work ethic and the way they get after it every day.
Well, this is kind of a year that, you kind of analyze if you pick different games, and, you start with, you're a lead candidate for the district, still with that, and then Newcastle comes in, and that was decided there, and then you have the Bishop McGuinness game, and we'll talk a little bit about that. That's to finish up in fact, how it happens is we already took the scenarios that, well, if you win, you're a 2-seed automatic. If you lose 4 or less, you're still a 2-seed, and if you lose more than that, you're a 3-seed. So it comes down to that, a 3-seed and on the road. But break down the Bishop McGuinness game from last week.
I thought we played a pretty good first half. We got off the field defensively. We were moving the ball on offense, and we did have to settle for a couple of field goals. Got down into the red zone, and I think we had one bad snap, and then we had a kind of a misread a signal, and kind of messed one of our plays up, and was a negative play for us, and had to get field goals instead of touchdowns. The second half, they opened up with an onside kick. Great job by them. But then, we mishandled the next kickoff and gave them a short field, and then we had a good response. Went down and scored, and when we didn't have any of the momentum, went down and scored and kind of got it back, and then had a turnover down on our own 10 or 15 yard line. And when you play good teams, you can't have those mistakes that turn into points, and it was just one of those things that it kind of snowballed on us for a few minutes there in the third quarter, and it ended up being too much to overcome.
Well, we noticed, too, something that high school teams aren't really relying on is field goals. We got that field goal in Newcastle. They missed theirs. We got ours, right at the end in the fourth quarter. And then we made, just as you said, 2 more. That's kind of good that, I know in years past, not putting down some of the kicking that we've had, but you really couldn't rely on that field goal as 3, and you almost had to go for it in situations that, well, maybe I could settle for the 3. So how nice is it to know that you got a kicker to get a 3?
It's good. Miguel has done a good job this year. His range is not great, but we feel like if we're inside the 20, that he's got a good chance of making it. And he actually had 3 last week, and of course, all of them were the line of scrimmage about the 15-yard line or so. But really proud of him for how he's been able to go in there. Even the Newcastle game, it was a really, really important. A lot of pressure. It was a pressure kick, and he went in there and nailed it. So he's done a good job.
Okay, so this week on the road, this is a repeat of last year for the MacArthur fan base. Knew that they had to take a trip to Guthrie, so you're going to go play at the Rock. You talked about last year you never played at the Rock before, so got that behind you. Now you know what that experience is. Watching the Lawton High game, though, a mud fest. I mean, 7 inches of rain, and they're probably one of the only fields that still have natural grass. And I know they had fun in the aftermath. And Walters, we'll talk about them too, about playing in a water mud game. But I know that they've kind of flattened the field out today. They're trying to work on it. But outside of the field conditions, what have you seen on Guthrie that you have to prepare for this week?
Well, Guthrie's a great program. I'm good friends with Kelly Beebe, their head coach. We've worked together on several committees, and he's one of my favorite people in the coaching world. He's got a great personality, and I think he does a great job with their program. It's hard to win over a long period of time. With all the ups and downs that you get with talent and a lot of things that go into winning that people don't realize, and and to win is hard, but to do it over a few decades like Guthrie has done, you got to be doing a really good job, and he does. So I've got a lot of respect for him and the job that he does. But their Guthrie is, they don't change a whole lot. They've run the same defense. I know it's the same defense that they were running when we played them in the state championship in 2011. They haven't changed hardly anything. They do what they do, and they're pretty good at it. They've got some good, tough kids, and they're going to play hard.
Cross our fingers. Weather looks good, so I don't think we have any rain in the forecast.
That's good. I ought to call him, see if he wants to move it here and get a better surface. I don't think he'd go for that.
I don't think he took you up on that offer. Okay. All right. Well, you got to do what you got to do. You're probably one of the premier featured 5A clashes in the state because when they talk about, 2s and 3s, you got 1s and 4s, and you kind of like put that on the back burner, but everybody kind of looks at the 2s and 3s, and they kind of singled that one out as you're probably the premier 5A matchup for this week.
Well, I think it'll be a good game. I think we're more evenly matched than we were last year. Last year they were really, really good, and I think we're pretty evenly matched, and go to Guthrie and win at the Rock is going to be a challenge.
Okay. All right, you got a player with one more year of eligibility, Alex Orta. Don't you want to put on the pads just one more time?
It would be nice, but my days are over,
okay.
And I enjoy being on the coaching side of things.
Yeah, okay. It's been 10 years, haven't you? People remind you about that
all the time.
It's kind of getting further and further in that rearview mirror. 10 years, you say, man, we're having a 10-year class reunion and talk about the 2014, as what Coach said in the locker room at the end of that game. He says, you think about the MacArthur teams that have won, second or silver balls, but he says no one will ever forget the 2014. So how does that experience, playoff experience, carry over as a coach, taking to these young men coming up in these next weeks?
I just do my best to try and relate that we're battle tested, and all the ups and downs that go with a season, that they can power through and they can accomplish a lot if they just continue to work hard and stay focused.
And what position, coach, are you? What do you handle?
I'm the defensive line coach, and I played nose, so it fits perfect.
Yeah, you kind of know it's kind of the background of what you had. This is going to be a test that I talked to Coach earlier. I think 70-75% run. I know we put some different run packages in this last week that we hadn't seen, so going to see a little bit more of that on D-line as far as I guess everybody says this. First going in is we're going to stop the run first and make them throw. So I guess that's what the objective is for this week?
100%. I tell these guys we're battle tested. One of the good things about going through Newcastle, Bishop McGinnis, Elgin, is you see some of the best fronts in the state, and I know my guys are ready to compete and perform.
Okay, now we know the regulars that we see as starters, but you also work with underclassmen, and you're always looking to the future. Maybe a sophomore or someone that's coming along from the JV squad that may have been brought up. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the ones that we don't know that we can take a look about for the future?
Right now we have a defensive end by the name of Jalen Carter. He's a good pass rush guy. He's looking forward to off season to being a complete defensive lineman. And at the 0, we have a guy, Dakari Chennault, who's up and coming, and I'm really excited about seeing what he can do.
All right, so a great opportunity for you to catch the Highlanders on the road. Kind of different because we were kind of all the scenarios that you thought about. Well, it could be MacArthur and Lawton High. It could be here. You could be hosting. And now both, Lawton teams all 3 Lawton teams on the road, and there's no one going to be at Cameron. We had that 1 week earlier that was kind of like strange when there was no football at Cameron. Even though I did say the staff, they're bringing a Texas game in on Thursday, a Class A Texas playoff game. So if you really want to check out some high school football at Cameron, I guess Thursday, if that's still the slate. So MacArthur Highlanders going to go on the road to the Rock to play Guthrie, 6:30 for the pregame, 7 o'clock for the kickoff. We've got Elgin, we've got Eisenhower, and we've got Walters here yet still to talk to. And we'll do that right after this timeout as the Coaches Show continues right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
All right.
delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Gran Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Gran Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
All right, we're back here at La Gran Cantina. Fill it up here and make sure that you feel at home. 6 o'clock each and every Tuesdays. If you can't make it on Tuesdays, you can come any time of the day of the week, and we've got some great specials from their old family recipes to maybe something on the modern menu. And this is a reserved area where you can have birthdays, anniversaries, hail and farewells, Christmas coming up right around the corner. Well, you hate to talk about that. I mean, we haven't hit Thanksgiving yet, but you want to make your reservations. And Coach Siobhan Harris, Eisenhower Eagles. We'll talk about, first off, congratulations, Coach. You're invited into an extended week called playoffs. We'll talk about this first because you're a 3-year head coach, first year of making the playoffs. That's a statement in itself, but talk a little bit about that first.
Oh, man, I actually tell people, man, it's just a testament to the guys and their hard work, man. We got here, and that's kind of one of them deals that we like. Most people tell you when you take over a program, you become a head coach. They say, hey, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to really get going, and man, we get to see it in our 3rd year, and it's a blessing, man. So, man, a testament, and hats off to these guys and their hard work and grinding through the program and us building a solid foundation.
Well, I've been asking all the coaches, and I will throughout this program, is after the 10 weeks and you kind of reflect and look back, what stands out the most about this team to you?
Man, for us, man, it got to be resiliency. Man, these guys, man, they show up every day. Win, lose, or draw, how ugly it could have got, who was on the field, it didn't matter. And there's not a game that we went where these guys just lacked fight or they just gave up and quit. And I think that's kind of where you get that point of, you deserve the right to get into the playoffs and go make a run. So, for us, man, I would definitely say the resiliency of this team and the fight of this team is something that I can go back on this team and say that's something that I was very proud of them about and how they attacked it.
Where do you think that really came from? Where do you think that they benefited the most to do that?
It kind of goes all the way back to winter workouts for us. We got the 6:30 workouts, and we get guys coming up there early in the morning, and it's cold. And still go outside on some days when most people would stay inside, and it takes a lot of grit for guys to come out there and work that as they come through. And so I think it's built in the wintertime, which we call phase 1, rolling through the spring and phase 2 in the summer, and then going through fall camping. And I think now that these guys see the fruits of their labor going into this part of the season.
Well, talk a little bit about last week's game. You kind of break it down and you look at film. What did you see on that you took away from?
Well, first we went through about 5 game changes. So it went from trying to get it in on a Thursday, then a Friday, moving the time up because of the weather. Then it moved to a Saturday, then it went back to Friday. So we ended up playing the game at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I
got to watch it from the office. I loved it. I mean,
yes, sir.
A lot of people were watching it on YouTube, and I said, hey, you know what? I mean, sneak it in on the office and just kind of watch that. Because just like Walters that played a Saturday afternoon game, which I enjoyed at 1 o'clock, yours was just as fun watching a 3 o'clock Friday game.
Most definitely, man. Yeah. And from our guys, when we came out, we started off fast. Got to get a bunch of guys reps, and what I told our guys, it was the best we looked on defense all year. Just reading our keys, reacting, showing up on the ball, making tackles. And regardless of your opponent, you still got to go out there and play a game. And I think that's something that we did as we went in there. We continued to play the game. And we got a lot of guys reps, and the guys we wanted to see that could help build depth for the playoffs, we got to see those guys as well.
Well, 6A2, it's a little different matchup as far as what district, 1s through 4s. Well, the top 2 get a bye, and then the rest of them, play. You were able to get on that this matchup's a little different from an opponent that we're not really familiar with on this side. So talk a little bit about Friday's matchup and what you're going to have to do.
Sapopa is a team that also came up from 5A up to 6A too, and a really good team. They end up getting fourth in their district. We ended up getting fifth, so we'll go across the state and play on that side. But a really good team, and they like to run the ball. They got some young guys that can get going. Got some linemen that I really like, that I could see that they kind of get going with their run game and try to build off of that. As well as a quarterback that can put the ball downfield. We're going to try to take advantage of our speed and our skill guys, and I think we might have them a little bit of an edge with the size and speed. So we're going to try to use that to our advantage, man. Start fast, finish strong. That's kind of what we're rolling into the playoffs with. Make sure that we stay on top of our game and we play the most disciplined football.
Well, biggest question always for teams at this time of the year is how healthy are you? I know you've had a lot of injuries throughout the year. It's kind of like, okay, I can't wait for this week because we're going to get guys back, and you finally kind of said that for the last couple of weeks. We're getting guys back and at the right time. So how are you overall health-wise?
I mean, we got everybody back, man, so we'll be rolling full strength. I know Rashad, he's still kind of battling a little bit of a deep thigh bruise, but he's about 80-85%, and I mean his 80-85% is a lot
better
of
than most.
Yeah, so man, but it's good to see everybody on the field. We've been having some really good practices, a lot of energy flowing around, and you can kind of feel that change as it started to happen. So man, I'm excited to see how we go out this week and play as a whole team.
All right, and any special plans? You're on the road, so you got a road trip to the east side of the state.
Yes,
you've had some long trips, so I guess you're kind of used to some of that. But anything for Friday?
Well, we're actually going to drive, but we're going to stop at Edmond North High School. Their head coach is actually one of my former teammates from Oklahoma.
Okay.
So we'll stop there at Edmond North, do a walkthrough, kick the field type deal, and then get back on the road. And when we come back, we'll come straight back. So I like to stop in the middle, get off the bus, relax a little bit, get these guys' legs moving, just so you don't try to make a straight 3-hour drive across the state.
Right,
so,
I understand.
These guys, they know how to attack it. We know it's a business trip, so they do a really good job traveling. So we'll just continue to make it a business trip and go on the road.
All right, got some players with you, so grab the mic, give us your name, what position you are, and what grade you're in.
My name is Milo Wyatt. I play left tackle, and I'm in 11th grade.
All right, so we're not done with you yet. We've got to talk a little bit about this junior season for you, and the role that you had. I got to see a little bit in spring and come from here. How would you rate your play throughout this year and your growth before you heading into becoming a senior?
This year, I say I'm about an 8, but I've grown a lot since last year that I can tell about just like my footwork and my blocking skill in a total.
How would you like to improve there going forward since you are just a junior?
Just working on fixing the small mistakes that I make and just always doing my job.
How thrilling is it, in the hallways to know that you guys have made playoffs? This is Coach's third year. You've not had that, and this time you get an extended week when other people are packing it up and getting ready for basketball season.
Yeah, I enjoy playing football, so it's just a blessing that I get to play another week and more weeks going forward. It's the first time I've been in the playoffs in high school.
And you're on the offensive line. What have you seen on their defense that you're going to have to prepare for of what they're going to bring at you specifically?
Specifically, they like to bring up walk-up backers on the outside, so I got to keep my head on a swivel for that.
Yeah. You pretty good at that?
Yes, sir.
And limber on your feet. All right. Got a guy next to you. Why don't you give him the microphone, give us your name, grade, and what position you play.
I'm Tyler Schumann. I play center. I'm a sophomore.
Wow, sophomore for a starting center. I think we've talked about this before. That's kind of a little bit of a pressure job, isn't it? You got to get the calls right. You got to look at check the defense, and you're kind of like what the quarterback is for all the offense. You're the quarterback for all the linemen down there. And are you holding that responsibility being a sophomore? Okay, are you kind of adjusted into that by now?
Yes, sir. I try to lead the best I can on the line, get everybody where they need to go. And I feel like I've taken that responsibility well as just a sophomore.
Well, you had a 3 o'clock in the middle of the afternoon Friday game. What was that? What was that like playing that? I mean, no lights, no dark. It was the rain was coming. What was that like?
It was different, being in a different atmosphere, not having Friday night lights.
Yeah.
Not all the fans being there.
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. It was in the middle of a work day on that. How thrilling was it to get that win against Capitol Hill? I mean, you guys really dominated. You had a good outshowing. A lot of people got to play, and for your 10th game, it's got to feel pretty good, to launch before playoffs. But how did you feel in that game?
I felt really good, knowing the weather conditions in that game, how it could be tough. I feel like we did really well.
Okay, so if Coach is, I won't have him grade you on your grade. What game do you think that you played your absolute best out of all the games this year? You came off the field with your head held high because you thought you did the very best.
I would have to say Southmore. I think I did most of my job right in every aspect of that game.
Okay, what's your favorite food?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. That's a first. My mom always said don't go dessert first, always eat first, but he goes straight for the cheesecake. Are you a dessert first kind of guy?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you ever get on, and your parents get on to you for that? You're supposed to eat your meal first, though, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you like your cheesecake with a topping, or you like it just plain?
I like it with the topping.
Okay. What specific thing do you want on there?
I like some chocolate chips and whipped cream on it.
Oh, really? Chocolate chips, whipped cream. What is your favorite subject in school as a sophomore?
Lunch, probably.
All right. We finally got a lunch. That was mine. He took my answer away. All right. So the Eisenhower Eagles in action on Friday on the road to the east side of the state. You can catch the pregame at 6:30 and the kickoff at 7 o'clock. Can't wait for you to check that out for us. We'll continue at the LeGrand Cantina. We got Elgin, we got Walters, got Lawton High still to talk to, and you can join us here at LeGrand Cantina right here in the mall on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Gran Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Gran Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
All right, LeGrand Cantina, and that's where you need to be each and every Tuesdays here for our coaches show. And we talked to our coaches. We said we'll continue as long as you win. You keep this rolling, we're going to roll along with you. And we certainly appreciate kind of going along for the ride. So you can join us here at LeGrand Cantina. If you can't make it tonight, please come throughout the week. They've got the traditional menu of their old-time recipes that has been passed down, or they've also got some new modern recipes as well. So the best of both worlds here at LeGrand Cantina inside the mall. So the Elgin Owls are up next. Chalmer Wyatt with us. Glad to have you back here. And a lot of excitement to talk about. This is back-to-back undefeated regular seasons. That's a testament to your program, your kids. We bragged up your seniors, and we got another senior here that we're going to be able to talk to tonight. But as I've asked the previous coaches, from your vantage point, out of this whole year and all the stuff that's records and all the stuff of adjusting to 4A and that, what stands out the most to you about this team?
I think that we all have, a common goal. and I think that you see that every day on the practice field. You see it Friday nights. These guys are bought in and are driven to reach their goal of a state championship. And I think sometimes you have good teams that there's still a little bit of, selfishness or some other things, outside factors. But, man, these guys are driven by that. And when they, all can unite on that, I think that's awesome, and it's testament to who they are as kids and, the belief they have in everybody. It's really cool.
Coming back down to 4A, was 4A everything you expected it to be after you look back and all the teams that you had to play?
Yeah, it was physical, just like I'd said before. Some really good teams, and, we were fortunate enough to take care of business and to get, to be undefeated in our regular season. So, it had its challenges just like any district you're going to have. There's good teams in any district, and I'm glad that we took care of business and put ourselves in the position we're in now.
Seems like yesterday it was week 0 and you were playing MacArthur. We were getting ready for it. I mean, that's how fast it goes. And you say, wow, don't blink, District champions, you get a plaque for that. That's good. I know that's not where you want to end up. And I know you guys are all about a mission and a business because, you had that last year in that position hosting the first 2 and didn't kind of go your way in that week 2. But let's talk about your closeout of the season, this last game, before we start talking about this matchup.
Okay, yeah. It started off, we went to the tornado shelter in the high school about 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
We're trying to leave at 4:15 for a game, and we got to go pack our bags still. And
wow.
Anyway, it all worked out, and the rain, got out way earlier than we anticipated, and I think that, we packed and preached how wet it was going to be all week, and I think that's why it didn't rain.
Yeah, you prepare with a wet ball and everything else like that. You do that, and you say, okay, well, maybe if it creeps up, you'll already have had that put in. So,
but,
kind of weird November weather, yeah.
It was, but really proud of our kids going in. Battle of Wichita's had a trophy on the line, and we wanted to go in and take care of business and stay healthy and play well, and we did those things. And it was so different than the last 2 years at the end of our season where we were playing for a district championship.
Yes.
And there's a lot that goes into that, and I'm kind of glad that was kind of took care of week 9. We could go focus on the Battle of the Wichita's, and then now we're in a good spot moving forward for the playoffs. Yeah,
you're going to be hosting. Ardmore is another team that's transitioned. They were a 5A team, goes down to 4A. You've been in that 5A realm to come back to 4A. So I'm kind of, they used to run the Flexbone for years and years, and I know they have different coaching changes, and they probably have changed from that, and that's kind of all I knew from Ardmore. So what can you tell the fans to expect for Friday night?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. We were in the same district last year. And then now we're in the same district this year, in a different class.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were super young last year, and they're a year older. A lot of the same numbers you see on film. Coach Newby does a great job over there, man. He's about as good as they come in the football world, and they're going to be in the Flexbone. They're back in it, and they do a good job of controlling the clock and keeping the ball on offense. They're big on the offensive line. And they've got, good, fast slot backs that they can do a lot of misdirection with a good fullback that's a load. And I think he's a big reason why they do snap it a lot on offense because he's moving forward, a lot of times. And then defensively, they're big up front. They've got a really good interior D lineman. Their middle linebacker has been a good player for 2 years now that we've seen. And then they're athletic in the back end, and they're a playoff team, and they're coming out of a tough district. And so it's going to be a big test. We played the Flexbone last year, week 1 of the playoffs, and that was a big test. And so, our kids got to gear up for that this go-around.
Well, you got to spend a lot of time on disciplined football, when you do that, it's, okay, well, you got quarterback, you got dive, you got pitch, and so you can't get away of guessing. You got to teach the kids that, no, this is your job. Don't think that he's going to hold or he's going to pitch, it's and it's hard to do away from that because instinctively you want to just chase the ball and stuff like that. So you spend a lot of time on that discipline for defense this week?
Yeah, that's part of why Coach Baker's not here tonight. He's probably watching film still.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what you got to do, and I think our kids can rise up to that. They've shown it in the past, and that's what we're going to ask of them to do this Friday.
Okay, so are the playoff seats already reserved right now? I mean, as of today, they got their blankets out and everything.
I'm sure they're sold out by now.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I mean, I'm talking about the position in the stands. I'm not even just talking about that. So, yeah, it's you bring out the atmosphere. It's great. Oh, and then another thing I didn't bring up earlier on is veterans. And veterans come with an ID. They and their guests get to come in for free. And OSSA has done that several years of this. Yesterday was Veterans Day, remembering that and honoring our veterans. That's a great way to do it. So if you're a vet, know a vet, and you have your ID, you and a guest can get in free, and that's a great advantage. You want to take advantage. That's only this week, by the way. It's not the whole playoff run, but a great salute to our military.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so you got some players in the house. So give us your name, the position, and what grade you're in.
My name is Jace Williams. I play left guard and nose guard, and I'm a senior.
Senior year, and we talked about that, all the pictures, all the accolades on it. How would you describe this year's team?
I'd say determined. We all have a goal, and we would just want to go and achieve that goal.
Yeah, I know you guys have been working on that for a long time, and you guys are kind of like family. You know how you put this together. But back home, you battle the Wichitas. You got something for that. District champion, you got something for that. You get to host the first two at home. What's it like to know that you've got two playoff or potential playoff games at home in front of your fans?
Oh, it's a big deal. We have a great crowd, and we know they're going to come support us, and it's just great being where we know how the field is and everything else. Okay,
so I've not been in a little while, and every the videotape I can always see it. Okay, you've already got the jugs, and I heard that, and you got the horns. Have you added anything else to that I could pick out? Because there's so much of that to disseminate. I said, well, they added the horns now in addition to the jugs. Anything else the crowd brings?
I don't know. They bring a lot. It all just kind of blends in. You can't hear anything.
It does. It brings a lot of noise, doesn't it?
They'll probably add some to the mix this week.
Okay. All right. Well, I like that. Okay. I asked some of the other players, you're successful at what you've done this year. Grade yourself out. What do you think was your best game coming off the field that you did the best or graded out the best?
Shoot. Maybe Weatherford. I had a lot of pancakes. I had a really high grade.
Okay.
And I made some tackles on defense, which doesn't normally happen.
It doesn't normally happen. I like that. Okay, now it's hard to disseminate this because when you're 10-0, how do you look back at it? What do you think was your best Elgin win that you felt the most pumped up about?
This year?
Yes.
Probably Clinton. It's always great to beat Clinton. It's never only happened twice.
That's very, very little in school history, and so to be able to get that, to know that was pretty special. What's at the task at hand this week against Ardmore that you have to go up against?
Well, they got a really big offensive line, so I'll just have to make sure I stay low and don't get moved back off the ball and just take up multiple blocks like I always do.
Okay, and then you got some looks at, for the next level as far as after graduation. Who's been talking to you? What kind of schools are you looking at as far as your future?
I'm committed to play football at Navy.
Okay, very good. So you're going to serve and be a part of what we just recognize as our veterans. So good for you. And so you'll be going there. And have you been following up on their programs this year?
Yes, I have a chance to make the conference championship.
I see that. You can wear your jersey. When do they play that? Next week? Is it Thanksgiving? Army, Navy?
No, that's the week December 14th.
December 14th. Okay, all right. Same for a like some of the state championships that they've got run out. So that's always a tradition there that we're going to see. So, what's your favorite food?
Probably crab raccoon.
Wow, where do you get that? Best at?
Red pepper.
Okay, red pepper. All right. And then let's see here. What is your favorite subject in school?
I gotta go math.
Okay. A little bit of personal because, you're a very proud dad, for your whole career. How much coaching do you get at home?
He was my Little League coach for a while, but, he's kind of chilled out.
Has he? Oh, wow, that's kind of different. Your dad chilling out. I don't know if that's an oxymoron or not. He's high intense, too, so, that's good. That's good. Well, I just like to tease a little bit because I know how passionate some of these dads are when it comes to this kind of go-around. All right, we got another guy next to you. Give us your name, your grade, and what position you're in.
My name's Hudson Begley. I play right guard, and I play D-line. I'm a sophomore.
All right, what's it like playing with this guy on that line there?
It's really a lot of fun. he's always using great communication, make sure everyone knows what they're doing. He's really taking the leader role of the line this year.
Yeah, and now that he's going to leave, are you going to feel comfortable and be, you're going to have to be replaced? You think you're going to be able to bring that in for a next year kind of a setup?
Absolutely, that's the goal. Yeah.
All right. What has been the most exciting game for you this year as a win, an Elgin win?
Yeah, I'd say it was the first one. There was a lot of hype behind it. It was week 0, opening night.
Yeah.
It was a close game, but we brought it home.
Yeah, against MacArthur there, and that's 2 in a row for you guys. How have you grown this year as a sophomore? I mean, how did you learn to get better, especially with the examples that you got, and how would you like to get better going forward?
I've noticed a lot more mistakes that I've made through film and practice, and I would really like to pay more attention to detail, the small stuff like where my hands are going and where my feet are taking me.
Yeah, that's very important there. What's it like to play in front of that hometown crowd coming up on Friday?
It's very exciting. It's everything I've ever wished for.
Yeah, playoff atmosphere and at home and a lot on the line. You guys have been talked about, you and another school that starts with W. I guess I won't bring that up. That this fight on the end. And you guys are on that battle-tested side, whether it be Wagner or Blanchard, and, Tuttle's on the other side of the bracket there. But, I think you guys have been battle-tested. Coach said it's a physical 4A. And I think, talking to other people, out of all the classes, they say that 4A is probably the most solidified as far as the toughness and a lot of equal match right there. So, what is your favorite food?
I'd say my mom's pork cutlets.
All right. Wow, that's different there. Well, I guess you're going to have to give us an invitation for us to try that. Sounds pretty good. Okay, and what do you like to do when you're not playing football? Give us some of your hobbies.
Well, I don't got a lot of hobbies outside of football, really. It's really just recovering for the next practice.
It's sleep. So it's football, sleep, eat, and back to football. Okay. Football has become a kind of 12-month thing, isn't it? Because even after the season's over, you're back in the weight room, you're conditioning. And so, he's got a really good circuit going out there. Well, congratulations on the season. Congratulations, undefeated back-to-back seasons, district champions. Could go on, but I know that's not what Coach wants to talk about. There's still a mission out there, and we're big fans of all your success and continued success, and good luck this week against Ardmore.
Thank you.
All right, so it's the Elgin Owls, and you can catch that right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Some people have asked, yes, are you doing the playoffs? Yes, we have to contractually go with the OSSAA for playoffs, and we are going to do that as long as we can. Usually up into the semifinals. If they are a finals, we may do an audio-only presentation. We've done that in the past, so you can count on us for following these teams, your teams, all the way throughout this run. Got the Walters Blue Devils still in the house, and boy, they played a Saturday afternoon matchup in the rain and mud, and that was a fun afternoon, and hopefully they got their lights turned back on. We'll find that out from Coach, and we'll do that next right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Craving delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Gran Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Gran Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
All right, so as we mentioned, of our 13 schools, 11 are playing week one of the playoffs, and we are so excited to have them a part of this extension called playoffs, a run to a state ball, and that's all their goals. And you can kind of say, throw the records aside, we're all 0-0 starting out right here and right now, and so we're glad that we're following 11 of them. And you can download our free app on Apple and Android devices just by searching the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. For those on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for those who are watching on Facebook, give us a like and give us a follow and share. That way you can kind of keep up with all the games that we have. So, Coach, first off, congratulations. You got second in the district. I know you and I talked when we got in here. You said, well, this last game, we could put us in second, third, or fourth because it could come down to points, and because that just shows you how tight this district is. But before we break down last week's game, which was kind of fun in the sun and the mud on Saturday with Wynnewood, let's get your reflections on the year. And as I have asked each coach in tonight's broadcast, is of this team, what stands out the most to you about this team this year?
I think it's just the special bond that they have with each other, coming in here and as the first-year head coach for these guys. And, I can just sense it right away how much they cared for each other and the drive that they had for one another. And, they're just a real tight-knit group, and they're fun to coach. They wanted to learn. They wanted to come out there and get after it and work hard. And it's just been a I've looked forward to going to work every day, and that hadn't happened in a while. So.
What game do you think stood out the most as learning for you as a coach and the players that you took away from this year, a very good learning experience of a particular game?
Well, for them, it was the Christian Heritage game. I kind of warned them all week about how they were approaching the game and preparing, and going into that game, we were undefeated at that time, and I think Christian Heritage had lost a couple of games, but they were against really, really good opponents, and I was worried all week how we prepared, and our play showed that on that Friday night, and it was a great lesson that these young men haven't made that mistake again. For me, each week's been a learning lesson, just getting to know the kids and what they're capable of and what makes each one of them tick, and that's part of being the coach and finding what drives each kid and trying to motivate them through that.
Okay, let's talk about last week. I got a text. Cody Pennington, our broadcast, play-by-play announcer, I'm getting all set up for my game, and I get a text, and he said, we moved our game to 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Saturday. And I said, uh-oh. I said, what happened? And he said, well, and this was last year they had a light problem, and it wasn't because it shorted out. It was a power surge, and then they couldn't get the lights to come on. So Walters is kind of familiar with the lighting situation. I was kind of jokingly with your superintendent, said, you hate when this stuff happens. And then you were pointing out to me on Saturday, so, well, you see this right there? All that water went right over there and shorted out half the side of the field, and so you had to move it for Saturday afternoon. What was that like to play a Saturday afternoon game?
Well, Friday was such a crazy day, because it was senior night, and we were preparing for all that, a pep assembly, and just like all the other schools in the area, we get a tornado warning and have to go spend an hour in the basement, and yeah. We didn't get our pep assembly, and then that was all kind of thrown off, and we knew all that rain come in, our field was flooded, and our superintendent, right out there with a squeegee trying to push water off the field. They've got pumps going. We're trying to get the field ready to play, and all of us are down there immediately after the school was over, basically after we got out of the basement, and just preparing to play. And we got the field ready, and we went out there and started our warm-up. We were right in the middle of our passing game, and all of a sudden you heard a loud buzzing and smoke coming out of the box over there, and the lights on the south side went out, and we had a crew over there trying to work on it, and they said they wasn't going to be able to get it that day, so administration had to make a decision to come back and play at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And I was worried because I saw in our kids' eyes all day Friday that I thought, boy, they're really ready. I could see that they were prepared, and you just kind of see that hunger that they had. And I was excited to play that game Friday night, and I was worried, because of the anticipation
Saturday.
and coming back the next day. But they were every bit as ready Saturday as they were Friday, and played probably their best football all year. And I was really pleased.
Well, you come from an artificial turf coaching for the past several years back to natural grass. What was it like playing in that? I mean, I couldn't even count the turnovers and the mishandling of stuff in that game that kind of went back and forth, but you managed to get through it. Talk a little bit about weather conditions playing in that.
Well, we knew what the weather forecast was all week, and it had rained the previous weekend, and fortunately for us, our practice field's in worse shape than our game field, so we practiced in that all week.
Okay.
And so our kids, were prepared, and I warned them all week, and we even did the wet ball drill quite a bit, and I said, we're going to have to handle adversity, and it was a great experience for our kids to have to do that. I think it made them better, made us tougher, and more mentally tough going into the playoffs.
Well, have a little bit of fun at the end of it, and I made the cardinal rule of, okay, everybody shook their hands, the game's over, and I packed up my video camera up and left, and then all of a sudden I hear some noise and some clapping, and I see kids just, sliding into the water, and the next thing I know, you're in it. So were you prompted in it? You wanted to go in it? How did all that happen that you got all wet?
Well, a couple of them before the game said, if we win this game, you're going to have to slide with us. And I kind of jokingly said yes.
Oh, you jokingly said yes.
And then as we got to the, singing the fight song, they turned around real serious and said, you got to do it, you got to do it. And, well, I try to be a man of my word all the time, so I said okay. And, they enjoyed it, and the whole community, just ran with that. And, at the end of the day, wins and losses, all this stuff is big, but it's a game for kids at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
And to be able to celebrate and do things like that, it's fun, and just to be a part of that, and that's a memory that these guys are going to carry with them the rest of their life.
Well, after I put the video together, I saw that your cameraman had a video of that, and I said, oh, I could have used that, and because they actually have video of that if you want to see that. And then you were able to prompt your little granddaughter. I saw the pictures of that. If Grandpa was doing it, then she's got to do it then, right?
Oh, yeah. She wasn't so much ready for the belly flop, but she loves to play in the water.
She likes to stomp around in it. Yeah,
Oh,
I saw some of those photos too. So, well, congratulations on the season, 9-1. Would you ever thought that taking over? I mean, you had a good program that went in the playoffs, but to have the success that you guys have had.
Well, I immediately coming in, of course, I watched these guys ever since I left Walters the first time. I've kept up every year, and luckily through OSN, I got to watch a few of their ball games last year when we played on Thursday night or whatever, and so I kind of kept up with them, and I knew coming in that there was going to be some talent, and that there was going to be a chance to make a run like we have, and so it wasn't really a surprise to me. My big worry was if I was going to get them to be able to buy into what I was wanting to do, and to keep them together. But once I got here and saw the camaraderie that they already had, I knew that wasn't going to be a problem for me. So, it's just been fun, a great group to coach, and, a million memories that we'll be able to look back on when it's over, and I just hope that it's not over.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, this week it's Cashin, so a little breakdown for, because you guys have kind of switched around and you kind of have names that you're familiar with. I'm not as familiar. I know a little bit about them, but what can you tell us about what to expect for this week?
Well, they're really well coached. They won a state championship a few years ago, and they've got a tradition-rich program. They're really balanced on offense. They probably throw the ball a little more than anybody we've seen this year. So, we've really had to work on preparing for that. Defensively, they're going to be about like the tougher defenses that we faced in our district. So, I told our kids when we after the Wilson game, which was our second game of the year, I said, we're going to be in a dogfight every week from this point on, and it's been that way. Even though we've, like the other day it was 33-8, but I never really felt like the game was in the bag until right there the last couple of minutes of the game. So, I think that we're prepared to play in games like this because of what we went through this year with our district, and like I said, they're a good football team, a good football program, but I like to think that we're a good football team and a good football program as well.
All right, well, good luck. You got a good fan base to go with it. How nice is it to have that playoff game to start the season there at home?
Oh, it's you saw the atmosphere there Saturday. I don't know that I've been a part of anything like that. I mean, for the first time probably in my whole career, I couldn't hear some of the stuff that the other coaches were saying because of how loud the crowd was.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting, and that's what's so great about that community. They're so tight-knit. When things started going wrong last Friday, you had people that were just jumping into action that didn't even work for the school. Hey, what do we need? What do we need to do? And it's been that way today. We had 2 guys out there that work at the golf course, and they volunteered to come down and put the sand out on the field. And, so
wow.
It's just a real tight-knit community, and they love their kids. They love their football, love their school, and it's great to be a part of that.
Well, I reached out to your superintendent and told him about how impressed I was, how polite the kids were to me, and respectful, courteous, and I said that comes from the top on down. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
These kids learn that from somewhere, and so, it is. You talk about the community and their tight-knitness, but, it was really, it's refreshing. I've always liked going out there. In fact, I secretly enjoyed the fact that they said they were going to move it to Saturday because I said my Saturday's clear, so I guess I know what I'm going to go do. So I loaded up and went to Walters, and, I would suggest anybody that is around the area want to see some good small-town football, it's where you can get it.
Well, and there's been a looming question all year that everybody wants to ask and nobody asks is why would you leave a 4A program and go to a Class A program? Well, you got to experience why on Saturday. And you said it. He's the best boss I've ever worked for in any job, and his leadership is just it's outstanding. We got a great high school principal just from top to bottom. It's a great community, and it's family.
Yeah,
and
it kind of shows.
It's hard to.
Well, you always got a table. You got a table of support too.
Well,
kids that are here that's not even on the program.
Yeah, they support each other, and like I said, that's the type of community it is, and it's been a joy to be back in it.
All right, so Walters and Cashin, we got some players with us. So grab the mic, give us your name, position, and what grade you're in.
John Freeman. I play slot receiver and strong safety, and I'm a senior.
Okay, first question: how fun was it to play in the mud?
I wasn't really a fan of it, to be honest.
I wasn't either because my shoes leak, meaning the water went through it. And there's a picture of me through your photographer. I was kind of inching my way to I had to navigate because all the water, because you got that. What do they call it in the when it's built up in the center and it comes the crown of the field, and so it all drains to the side, and it really was there. But kind of sloshing around there. So what was it like playing on a Saturday afternoon as opposed to a night game on a Friday?
It was kind of weird. I mean, I liked the atmosphere. I thought was a lot better.
Because everybody was off, and everybody was, I'm going to do something on a Saturday afternoon.
Our superintendent told me that the ticket sales weren't as high, but I thought there was more people there than usual. So.
Well, it was a good showing, and talking about tickets, and we're talking about Veterans Day. We mentioned this earlier in the broadcast. If you are a veteran, you show your ID. You and a veteran, it's one guest to go with them, so you get in the ball game for free. So if you want to see it, you're in the area, I would suggest you do that. We've got a lot of OSN teams, some of them that are going to be hosting this week here in the region. How would you describe this year's season for you as a senior, looking back?
I mean, it's been a pretty good senior year. I've made a lot of memories, and it's just been everything I could ask for.
What has been your favorite Walters win as a team? The best win that you thought was good?
That's hard, but I'd have to say either Stratford or Weeniewood. Weeniewood just because we were hyped up to play that game, and it was a lot of, stuff going into that game. And then Stratford, we fought through a lot of adversity that game with them coming back in the third quarter, but we stayed together as a team and won.
What would you say is your best game as a player coming off the field that you thought you did your very best?
I think I graded the best game, Minko, but I say my best individual game was probably Okima.
Okima, all right. Okay. What do you know about Cashin? What are you getting ready for them to prepare for them on film?
They're a really good team. They pass the ball really well, and they have some really good receivers. They have a lot of good skill positions. I don't know much about their line.
Do they? And I hope you understand do they lull you to sleep? Meaning they'll run, and you think that's all they're going to do, and then pass, or are they just straight? We're going to line up and just pass it down the field.
They don't really lull you to sleep. I mean, they'll run the ball, but it's not really lull you to sleep. Their game plan is to pass the ball.
Their game plan is it, right? Okay, right out of the gate. So that's a challenge. That what coach says. In your class of football, it's probably reversed. It's more run than pass. And then when you see the pass, those teams aren't really effective with it because they don't try it. But this is reverse. Are you guys ready for that challenge?
I mean, yeah, I think we are. Our secondary, I think, had the best game last week. I mean, I know it was really hard to pass the ball, but we're just being in the right zone and being where we were supposed to be at. I think our secondary really did really good. So.
All right. Well, good luck on this run of the playoffs with Cashin, and hopefully invite you back next week to go that second round. That's pretty special.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. You got another player next to you. Give us your name, position, and what you play, and what grade.
My name's Sebastian Wani. I play receiver and corner, and I'm a senior.
Senior, okay. Fun senior year?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Well, I know your teammate next to you wasn't a big fan of playing in the mud, in the water. Were you okay with it? Would you like that?
It didn't bother me, really.
All right. Were you the one in the end that were all diving and sliding in that? Did you get involved in that at the end of the game?
No, I have an hour ride home, so.
You didn't want to be soggy wet with that. Okay. All right. How would you say you've grown as a player this year?
Being more disciplined and watching more film. This is the most film I've probably watched than my past years.
And what's it like to play in front of the hometown crowd for this playoff matchup for week 1?
It's amazing. It really just whenever you mess up and then you turn around, you hear the crowd, and it's just like it brings you back.
Yeah, I noticed that they respond really well. Like some of your players that will face the crowd and raise their arms up, they respond well. I mean, they follow the lead and they get right into it. What was your favorite Walters win this year?
Probably the Wynnewood game.
Yeah, just this past Saturday. And then what do you think you did as a player, your best game coming off the field?
I would say Hobart was probably the best game I played.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Anything my mom makes.
That's very nice. You're going to come home to a very happy mom. What are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do when you're not playing football?
Playing video games and sleeping.
And sleeping, that's good. Any particular video game?
Siege and NCAA.
Okay, do you play any of the other teammates on the live connection? Do you guys play against each other?
Yeah.
Who's the best on the team?
Me.
Okay.
Me.
Okay, the challenge is on, so you guys can play each other, and then I'll find out the winner for next week, okay? All right. So Cashin is the opponent. Walters is the location. 6:30, they're all pointing that's them, so you got a whole table that's going to dispute that. So I like to stir things up. So, yeah, you can catch us there about 6:45 for the pregame, 7 o'clock for the kickoff. We'll come wrap things up at La Grande Cantina after this timeout right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Grande Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Grande Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
Goodbye, paperwork. Hello, convenience. Farewell, waiting. Hello, personal service. Catch you later, dreaming. Hello, planning. Buy your dream home, connect with a personal banker, and easily schedule an appointment with digital tools from Arvest Bank. Goodbye limits, hello possibilities.
All right, we're back here at LeGrand Cantina inside the mall. You can come join us each and every Tuesday talking high school football, and of the 13 schools, 11 remain, and we've talked to all of our area schools. We're going to close out with the Lawton High Wolverines, and I know that JW kind of grew up being a Wolverine. His dad, Hi-Ho, that played on that state championship long ago, and we won't even give a year because that's going to date him and I both.
He coached on that in 87.
Yeah, I understand that, so I'm just saying that being a part of that that special nucleus right there. So a lot of stuff that you understand coming back into the program, following it. The Wolverines kind of, a first-year coach come in, you kind of, as what Coach Zoe would say, what you saw in week 0 and 1 and 2 is not what you are going to see 8, 9, and 10. Would you say that's definitely the case as you being up in the press box each week?
Yeah, everybody call the games each week with Rylan Stiles and our crew, and yeah, it's been an improvement, even riding the slump of the 3-game losing streak they're on right now. But then you look at that, you've played Carlbert and Guthrie, who are 2 of the favorites in 5A in that stretch. It's definitely been an improvement, seeing things get better from week 0. And my family, we bought onto the hype train early with Zoe, and it's been awesome to see them improve over the year. And it looks bright for the future. Well,
the thing, you get a 3 seed, that's something nice right there. You're going to go up to a 2 with Bishop McGinnis. MacArthur, very familiar, just playing that game right there. Kind of saw that. But let's get your take about, even though you didn't play in it, about the Mud Bowl. And we're going to talk about Coach Zoe, and we're going to give credit to his wife because he posted those, the muddy before and after, and all white jerseys. I couldn't believe they came clean, kind of a thing. But a lot of talk about playing in that. I think the kids kind of liked it in the end, even though it wasn't the best playing because of you couldn't get your traction, you had turnovers, you had different things. But walking away from that on a 7-inch rain at Guthrie, that was kind of a different experience.
Yeah, so 2010, 2011, Lawton High went and played at Del City in the mud. And it was the last time that Lawton High had played in a mud bowl. I still have angst because I was sick and couldn't go to that game in the Mud Bowl that my dad was coaching in.
Yeah.
But no, it was old school football. There at the Rock, you talk about the ambience.
Yeah.
It was a great vibe at the Rock.
MacArthur fans are going to have to go up this week and experience
the crowd was a little bit light, being what it was.
Yeah, rain. Yeah.
We were outside underneath a tent. On the away side, we hunkered the rain with everybody else getting in. It was good. It was a Mud Bowl. You kind of commentating the game, you lose the numbers, you lose the yard marks, kind of like. And the handoff to we don't know and goes for a 3-yard gain, everybody goes slide in the mud.
Yeah. Kind of a little different there. Okay, this week's matchup, very interesting. You're going to cross the district over there where MacArthur is. So Bishop McGinnis finishing a second, you finish a third. Everybody, kind of really ignores the 1s and 4s. 2s and 3s are the good matchups. This is another good matchup. So what are you expecting for Friday night?
McGinnis is 7-3. Is Ryan Stringer is his first year taking over there at McGinnis. It's going to be a good one. I mean, McGinnis has made 25 straight playoff appearances, and they are 19-6 in the first round over that stretch with 2 state titles and 5 runner-ups. And then you see Lawton High, maybe have been down in past years, but Lawton High still, we consider, if you can call them the blue bloods of Oklahoma high school football. I mean,
sure.
9 state titles, 2 runner-ups. It'll be a good one. We talk about being battle-tested, and I looked this up earlier. I was talking to my dad about it. 12 of the last 13 state titles have gone back to the west side in 5A.
Yeah.
And, of course, a short list there. It's Guthrie, Mack, Carl Albert, and there's one more I'm blanking on. But Altus, another OSN team. So we talk about the west side being battle-tested. It's usually whoever's going to come out of the west side is going to win the state title.
Well, there, you look at the bracket, and it's you have one little – they're a West team that's playing East. Del City is the only one that's going to give you that. But the thing is, they're on the same side of the bracket as Carl Albert. And so I know as many of disappointed Del City fans found out that they were looking for hopefully another rematch for a state title. That's not going to happen. That's going to happen at the semifinal reign, and that's sometimes how that happens. So been a fun year to follow the Wolverines.
Oh, it's been really fun. You've seen new wrinkle, new offense, and I think it was
basketball on grass is what Coach said.
You've seen Tavares Deans. I call his name every week, it feels like. And oftentimes when you talk about him, I just use one word, and that's playmaker.
Yeah.
He makes plays with us on the basketball court, on the football field. He's going to have multiple looks to go play basketball or football at the next level. Nate Jones, it's going to be very dearly missed in the backfield next year. For 4 years for the Wolverines, he's been making plays.
Yeah, he sure has. I mean, it's like he's been a fixture there.
Rylan always says on air he's good for about 5 a carry anytime he touches the football.
Yeah, well, that's good. They're going to need that this week because it's going to be that run formula, between these two, and that's going to be a great matchup there. Bishop McGuinness just sandwiched right there in the metro, right off the interstate. You can see the lights when you kind of pass on through, so you're going to be able to catch that. 6:30 for the pregame, 7 o'clock for the kickoff. JW, appreciate it. Representing the Lawton High Wolverines, and that's 5 of our schools. As we said, of the 13, 11 are still playing on. We'll close out this broadcast after this on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Well, we are certainly getting ready for the playoffs. I hope that you are too. Friday with 11 OSN teams on the network scheduled to play. Make sure you download the app. It's really easy it's free to download, free to watch on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel on Facebook. You can follow us there. Newcastle had their coaches show at 6:30. Mid-Del Sports Report going on as well. And we want to thank everybody that came here tonight to join us. We're in the private room in the very back where you can have birthdays, anniversaries, hail and farewells, and you got Christmas coming up right around the corner at LeGrand Cantina here inside the mall. And so it's a great opportunity for you to come join us next week. Hopefully we got some teams to talk about round 2 of the playoffs right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.